General, I know there are a number of issues of deep concern for you about today's generation of soldiers, and military suicide has hit the news, combat stress, and the whole PTSD issue. Can you address those issues and why you're so passionate about helping us become more aware of and be involved with those?
My experience, Tim, is that anyone that goes to war comes back wounded. Some of the wounds you can see, maybe a lost limb or whatever, but some of the wounds you can't see. And some of these wounds heal in a short time, some take a lifetime to heal. These are the wounds that our troops come back with, and I don't think anybody goes to war and doesn't come back wounded in one way or another. And so as they come back, these wounds particularly that you can't see, the post-traumatic stress, the combat stress, the wounds that help accelerate the unraveling of military families, all of those things are simply things that people have borne on our behalf. And their mental and behavioral health challenges are related to their sacrifices on our behalf. And so we need to help them in every way possible. Most of their reactions are normal reactions to abnormal things that they have done on our behalf. And so we need to mobilize, we need to move a nation to care, Tim, and it's care in every way possible. Care with respect to the behavioral health, care with respect to the mental health, care with respect to the physical health. Our government is throwing a lot of resources at it, and they're doing some good. They just don't have the capacity or the ability to help in every way possible. It's the people of America, the citizens, the great patriots in the woodwork of America that can reach out and touch that one veteran and make a difference in his life. And if we all do that, it makes a huge difference around the world of veterans and their families. So yes, I have a deep passion. I think there's some very physical, tangible things we need to do, and then there's also some intangibles related to us caring as caregivers in their lives.
What about me? What do I do?
I think we ought to start where we are. We all have different levels of qualifications. Stonewall Jackson said, get everything in the fight. Part of stewardship, part of loving other people is loosening our grip on what we have. Some of us have just the ability to link up with a veteran. On my cell phone, I have alarms set for the anniversaries of particular veterans. Anyone listening to this show can do that. Tomorrow, I will write a man that lost his legs in Vietnam many years ago on May the 10th. Well, so it is with all of us. We all can remember. We all can be especially sensitive to those milestones in people's lives. They may just walk about silently hurting, but if we remember them, that makes a huge difference. In addition, as you escalate up qualifications, there's 358,000 churches in America. Would it not be nice if we were to mobilize every one of those churches to be a military-sensitive, a military-friendly church that would really wrap their arms around the veterans within their congregation? I was on the West Coast, spoke at a church on July the 4th, and I asked veterans to stand up. A World War II veteran of Iwo Jima stood up, and as I talked to the pastor later, he was very embarrassed. He didn't even know that man was in his congregation. So you have a need to raise awareness among the churches and the communities.
General, I also know that you have a real interest in churches becoming points of light, where they can train people, say through a program like you're talking, our stress and trauma care. And by the way, you don't have to be a PhD or anything like that. You can just be an interested mom and or dad or someone in the church, maybe a retired vet, someone who's served.
For sure. I offer that some of our veterans need help, but many more of our veterans are able to give help. There's a verse in Corinthians that talks about comforting others with that which we've been comforted. No one talks to a veteran quite the same way as another veteran who has that T-shirt, who's experienced the same sacrifice, and can have a voice. He's earned the right to be heard. He or she has earned the right to be heard in that other veteran's life. So yes, we'd like to mobilize veterans. And we've seen certain churches across the nation and certain communities across the nation that are points of life, that are centers of excellence. We would like to replicate this many times over. I've seen people that didn't commit suicide because of a church. I've seen people that were condemned to a life of traumatic brain injury that would never recover, graduate summa cum laude from a Southern Methodist seminary just because of the encouragement of a church. You just see it across the country, but it's just a small handful of truly switched-on churches. We can do better.
General, it's hard for me to believe that a lot of the homeless are our veterans. It's just amazing that that exists in this country. Do you feel like the government's becoming more sensitive to these issues, and are they giving more attention to helping resolve these concerns?
Well, I think there's good people in the government that are working it, but it's inadequate at this point. They are not at the point of need. That's what the communities, that's what the Woodwork of America is about. And some of these large programs that throw millions and billions of dollars of money at it aren't necessarily properly focused on true hope, help, healing. And I think the power of faith is awful important. Our military minimizes that at the peril of our troops and families who need it more than ever before in their lives.
And what a tragedy that is, because most people who actually seek out even mental health services want their faith addressed as a part of that whole process. It's a total asset.
Exactly right. You can go account after account of a veteran who was impacted so deeply during their combat experience. People that are at risk, threat clears a man's head, and these people really cry out to the living God. They want to know that God is their rock, their fortress, their deliverer, the strong tower to whom they can run. That's what's important when they're in harm's way. They don't need political correctness. They need the true relevance of the person of Jesus in their lives.
Indeed, General. And General, by the way, thank you for your service, your commitment to our country.
It's an honor, Tim.